Hey, Shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Racha Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing its word in truth and sincerity. Shabbat Chanak, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Racha Kwadash. Shalom to the Lord's elect, okay, scattered through the four corners of the earth, okay, mainly in Babylon the Great, which is America. And let's talk about some news. I mean, it's really not new news. It's just, it keeps coming up, and it's speaking about the digital ID. And you had King Charles just pretty much reaffirm out there in the UK, reaffirm how the digital ID is coming and how they're going to enforce it. Now, last year, they basically, it was Starmer, which is the Prime Minister of the UK, pretty much said by, I guess it was this year, they're going to roll out the digital ID, okay? And really, all the so-called conspiracy theorists, they're looking pretty good right now. Which, yeah, there is conspiracy. The conspiracy is just two or more gathered together to plot or scheme, you know? So that's what they do. The scriptures speak about how Psalm 64, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. All right, Psalms, the 83rd chapter, speaks about how the nations, they came together in a confederacy to plot, to scheme. Psalm 2 goes into it as well, okay, about these conspiracies, about the heathen plotting, imagining a vain thing. Yeah, the digital ID is a vain thing, but it's a necessary thing, and we understand it to be one step closer to, you know, the prophecy in Revelation 13:16. That infrastructure has to be set up. Everything is going digital. So I'm gonna name this video, the digital ID is definitely coming. Okay, and we're gonna experience that digital ID here in the States as well. You have certain states that already allow digital driver's licenses, as well as digital, you can use your phone to show your insurance. All right, China's already pretty much damn near 99% digital. All their transactions, we've been speaking about it for years. It's been coming out from apostles, elders on down, how China, what, 5-10 years ago, 10 years ago, they was going digital. Within the last, I don't know, man, it's been at least a decade, they've been pretty much digital, man. So they're already used to it. Okay, I have this, let me get Habakkuk the 2nd chapter. All right, because we want this to come. It's surely going to come. I'm gonna get this in. I'm gonna start at verse 3, but we're gonna look at different. We're gonna look at different versions of the Bible. Okay. And then we're gonna get a article, and it, maybe I put what's it called? Maybe I put something in post-production, a little video. I'm pretty sure individuals saw it. I know the brothers have been watching this thing very carefully. Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Tahar, you know, he always says, and he does videos on it, the title, you miss a day, you miss a lot. That's how fast things are moving. All right, there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are weeks that decades happen. Okay, and we're in that time. So this is Habakkuk 2 in the NLT 2 and 3. It says the vision is for the future time. The vision is speaking about what? What's the main vision that we're speaking about? The MOTB system. Okay, which that's going to initiate Jacob's trouble. All right, it's a lot that's going to happen. Isaiah 4:1, we can't forget about that. Okay, wars. Okay, that the War Powers Act. They're going to declare martial law. Yeah, all that is happening in our time. Okay. Now during the time of Habakkuk, it wasn't that time, but he got this vision. Okay, and he was, and then the prophets were told to write these things down, whether they wrote them down themselves or they had scribes. Okay. The vision is for a future time. It describes the end. If we're not in the end, then you're just cooked. Okay? You're just cooked. Even Esau is speaking about the end. Okay? People that are not religious are speaking about the end. They're throwing out terms like Armageddon, World War III. All right, because we're at a point, you don't even have to be a rocket scientist. We're at a point where you have major nations that all have weapons of mass destruction. Okay? North Korea, they put it in they revised their constitution. And if Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea, if he gets assassinated, it's automatic, it's built in, it's automatic nuclear strikes. Okay, so we're in a time like that. Okay, Russia is floating the idea of using nuclear missiles in Ukraine. America is floating the idea of using nuclear missiles, okay, in Iran. So we're definitely in a time that, all of a sudden it's going to come. And the people are going to be afraid. It tells you that 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, right? It says the vision is for a future time. It describes the end. And it will be fulfilled. Okay, it will be fulfilled. It no longer is going to tarry. No longer are you going to be able to say, oh yeah, my grandmama was saying that. Y'all been saying that for years. Y'all been saying this, you're not going to be able to say that. You're going to be actually experiencing, okay, you're going to actually experience the end. Okay. It says, if it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. So we're at that time where it's not being delayed. They're just coming out making announcements. Hey, we're going digital. Wait, hold on. I thought these governments were democratic republics. Okay. What about democracy? I thought the people had a choice. Where are these people that's claiming they need to go digital? Okay, so it's always been a hidden hand behind the scenes, and we're in a time now that's actually being exposed. More people know. Nevertheless, everybody is deep in this system where you really can't make a move. It's not time to make a move. Okay, it's not time for the Civil War. Okay, I'm speaking about like right this second, but we're in a time where it can't happen. Meaning nothing's going to happen until it's in its proper time. Even the end is not going to happen until it's proper time. Okay, Yahushua said the end is not yet, but he said to look for these things. These will be the signs that the end will come. Now, when we're trying to figure out what Revelation 13:16 is, the M-A-R-K, the mark of the beast, we're using wisdom, as it says when you continue to keep reading. He that has wisdom, let him count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man. Okay, and within that Chai-Stai stigma, okay, is Esau's very plan, what he's doing, what he's carrying out right now through this digital system. If you have wisdom, then you'll be able to see it. And you actually have you have a lot of people that can actually see it. That are not even Israelites, Edomites, okay, Moabites. I mean, what's wrong with you, you Israelites? It's either you sold out or you're just completely blind. Bear with me. I'm sipping some tea. It's a tea for memory, blood circulation to the brain. It's rosemary, peppermint, sage. I believe that's it. Rosemary, peppermint, sage, and then it's in the evening, so I put a little bit of lavender in this one. Okay, and those first 3 herbs, what they do is they increase circulation, especially circulation going up into the brain. So you can drink that tea daily, or you can make a tincture with it, and it'll just help increase blood circulation to the brain and as well as the stomach, and just generally over throughout the whole body. Okay, so let me go into this article here, because this damn devil just announced this. All right, and again, this will come. It's going to come. We will be using digital IDs as well as digital money, and that's going to be just a great day. That's, we're of course we're going to be challenged. We're going to suffer different things. Acts 14:22, through great tribulation we shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? But our mind is geared towards that. We're prepping spiritually for that very battle. Okay, the mental preparation is really the hardest of all preparation. Okay, and when coming into, say like a fight or anything like that, you have a lot of people that can train and can do particular things, but when it's time to battle, it's all about your mind. Okay, and that's where we're going to be attacked. Our mind is going to be attacked. Okay, and the Lord has given Esau the power at this time to run all manner of enchantments, witchcrafts, okay, and solidify that with the sword if you don't comply. All right, and you have to be willing to die for your beliefs, because that very act of Esau coming down and trying to force you to do something is the very sign that he's at his last leg. Okay, he has a balance. That's what the scriptures say. And let me get that, and then I'm gonna get this article. Let me get that real quick. Job 14, and we'll get a different Bible. Let's see. Let's read a couple. This is the NLT, Job 14:5. It says, you have decided the length of our lives. You know how many months we will live, and we are not given a minute longer. Yeah, because everything, our whole life is, is set up from the time that we were born to the time that we die. How we die, what we do in our life is all set up by the Most High. Okay. Let's see. RSV, since his days are determined. Yeah, Esau's days are determined. See, he's not gonna rule forever. Remember, he was given a short season. He was given the ability to rule, okay, through the pleasure of the Most High. The Most High, he wanted this, Yahweh, okay? He wanted this. And there's nothing that you can do. All you can do is just submit to it. But you got Jake that's bucking up against it. Really, we live amongst a nation, incredulous nation, a nation without faith. And that's been since the beginning. We can read about that. You can read about it in the book of Exodus. Okay. Hebrews speaks about that, how, I believe it's Hebrews, how pretty much it was a lack of faith. Okay. Let me get that. It's pretty much a lack. I believe this was at Hebrews. Let me see. Hebrews. Bear with me. Right. Hebrews 4:2. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So even though we give so much evidence, so much proof, so many receipts, but since it hasn't fully manifested, okay, they can't see it, all right, they don't believe it. But I'm gonna hit you with this. Even when our people see the miracle, you can have Jakes that see miracles, and they'll still come up with an excuse why, they didn't believe something, and it's all set up. They'll say, like they were saying to Yahushua, the wicked scribes and the Pharisees, well, yeah, okay, he did a miracle, but he did it through the power of Beelzebub. He did it through the demons. He got power on the left-hand side. That's basically what they were saying. And the Lord was like, if Satan be divided against Satan, I can't stand. So Yahushua, he was pretty much a stumbling block, just as this word preach is a stumbling block. Excuse me. You still have scoffers, you still have scorners, you still have unbelievers. That's also what makes this truth so precious, okay, to hold on to. Because we have major forces, coming at us, not only attacking the doctrine, but also attacking us individually, trying to sow discord among the brethren. You got false brethren. You got those that were crept in unawares. You just got scoffers, false teachers, false prophets. You got Esau, you got Satan himself, okay? Nevertheless, there's a scripture, right? No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. So all these weapons that Satan yields are be able to hop on people, be able to, even jump on the believers' bodies. Is this cleavers? Let me see. It's a herb. Yeah, I believe it. No, that's not cleavers. Salakia. It's spring, so a lot of stuff is springing up. So I'll be doing some foraging soon. But so like I miss what I was saying. That's done. Let me just go to apologize for that. This is from todayville.com. King Charles announces UK government will introduce digital ID, and they had the so-called king introduce it, which the UK, England, okay, is the financial capital of the world. It's one of the city-states, okay? That's where the Rothschilds, that's where they, where they rule out of. London, England, okay, with the false nobility. So Esau, he's going forth with the plan, but it's so subtle, that the uninitiated, the unaware they really can't understand what's going, because it's just distractions. It's confusion everywhere, right? It says, my ministers will also proceed, I'm reading the article. My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services, Charles said, prompting backlash over privacy concerns. Did they come out and say, all right, we're going to vote on this? We're going to vote and see if the people want this? No, they didn't say that. They didn't say none of that. They're going to go ahead with it, whether you like it or not. They're not asking you if you like it or not. They're not asking for your opinion. They're not telling you to line up to see if you're going to vote for it. They're just telling you that's what they're going to do. And they're going to give you whatever excuse that they want to give you. And if you have a concern, they'll have some of their talking heads and so-called particular experts bring it up. And then it's still not going to do anything. You people, you can riot. You can do, you can gather together. All right. You can protest. And there's been many protests in the UK over the digital ID. And has it stopped anything? Absolutely not. They're still going forth with the plan because that's the plan. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, in order for us to be delivered, in order for the justification of America totally being wiped out by thermonuclear fire, the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure has to be set up, because that's how the mark of the beast is going to be used. It's going to be used through this digital infrastructure. Okay, now they just need the consent of the people. Okay, And pretty much it's manufactured consent. All right, it's manufactured consent. Because the people don't want this. If they only knew what this actually meant for them in their future. You got certain people that do know, and they're crashing out. You know, brothers have several stories, mainly Esau. Jake, not so much. You got certain Jakes kind of waking up. They're trying to get into herbal medicine, get away from the hospital. They're trying to do, grow things at home and, do a little prep. It's too late. It's too late. If you didn't already do that, then you're cooked. Okay? You're still tied in with the system. You still love these modern cities. And further of all, even if you did some hardcore prepping, if you're here in America, you're going to be destroyed. All right? It's as simple as that. All right? The only ones that are going to be delivered are the elect. So it's to no avail. All right? The best thing is for you to get out of America. All right? But you're going to stay because, what we're saying is too far-fetched. You believe cooler heads are going to prevail. You have all these so-called experts, analysts, saying they don't think nuclear missiles are going to be used. There's going to be peace. Right? Let me get this. I quoted it earlier. 1 Thessalonians. All right. But let me actually read Job 14:5 again in the KJV. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And that goes for the direct time limit in which he can rule. It's already set to the very second, the very millisecond when he goes down. Okay, the amount of technology he has, he's only allotted a particular amount of technology. He's only allowed to go so far out, from the Earth's, from the land, going into so-called space. He's not going to Mars, and he's not going to the moon and setting up, colonies on the moon like he shows you in the movies. Nah, none of that shit is going on, man. Okay? He's going to be destroyed. And we're the only ones that continue to, speak this, publicize it. We're the only ones to publicize it. And of course, it's not a popular narrative, because even those nations that are against America, yeah, they be like, okay, America fall, but they still love America. What proves that? Revelation 18 chapter, okay, where the nations, they mourned because they couldn't sail to Babylon the Great no more, because this is how they got rich. Okay, so the nations are going to actually be, the nations are mad. The Lord is going to put an evil thought in their mind to destroy America, but afterwards they're going to feel sorry because they're not going to be able to make any more money. This just shows you how vain these heathen nations are. And since this is not a popular narrative, because even we talk about America going down, but we also say all you nations are going into captivity. So yeah, I get it. Of course you don't want to. If you a Moabite, of course you don't. You want to cast off what we're saying, and it's not true. I don't even want to hear that. But just everything that we're saying is coming to pass, and they are taking notice. This is why they have, particular individuals infiltrate. All right, I brought it up in some lessons back, where you had a Southern Poverty Law Center, and they come against the Hebrew Israelites and so-called hate groups, heavy. They just have a lawsuit because they mishandled donations by, they were giving money to individuals, basically as spies, agents, to infiltrate, okay? To infiltrate and stuff, okay? Bear with me. So let's go to that First Thessalonians. 5, right? Starting at the top, verse 1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, and that's exactly what's going to get ready to happen. Scriptures also say not to be afraid of sudden fear, because it's going to happen suddenly. Now, it's not going to happen suddenly to us. Now, of course, something, like an explosion happened. We don't know that exactly an explosion is going to happen, but we're not going to be surprised that something like that happened. Our spiritual antenna is going to literally go off, and we're going to say, here's Esau again. And all you have to do, see, this is all you have to do. All you have to do is listen to the response. Don't so much focus on what's happening, which is important. Absolutely, it's important. Yes, that is important. But what about Esau's response? What about these world governments' response? Like the whole thing with the COVID. Oh, also, right? They're also hinting at the hantavirus coming back, or not coming back, or that's the new scamdemic. Okay, so you're telling me Trump is going to have 2 pandemics within his rulership, as well as a war too, on multiple fronts? That's crazy. That represents the end, though. And it's so crazy that people actually can't believe it, because they're like, why don't you guys just have peace? Like, why don't we just have peace? Why don't we just chill? Like, everything's good. Let's just bring it. Let's just go. Let's open it straight. Everything was working fine. Let's just open it straight and, get back to business. Let's just, let's just chill. And it don't work like that. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. See, the regular average human doesn't understand geopolitics and understand the nation state. It's always a battle for primacy, to be the top guy. There's moves being made in the background. There's moves being made up front. All right, deals being made with nations, and best believe it, yeah, these nations, they'll work together. But anytime a nation gets, the opportunity, they'll take another nation out, just so they can be in power. So that's where we're at. The nations are getting ready to lock arms, but since it is very sensitive, they don't want to just go to war. But the Most High is going to drive them. Goddamn flies, man. The Most High is going to drive them into this war. Okay, whether they like it or not. Okay, bear with me. So let me see. Yeah, let me read verse 4. But ye, brethren, okay, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Okay, we're not in darkness. See, while everybody else is, living the vida loca, don't just have literally no clue what the hell is going on. We're just scary. That's scary, to be living this life with no clue. But I guess you say what they say, ignorance is bliss. That's why they have so much fun. But the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Okay, so us in the know, all right, we're not in darkness. It's not going to overtake us as a thief. We're literally waiting for the thief. The thief is going to creep in the house 3 a.m. Okay, go through the side door or the window, and we just patiently wait in there in a seat with the shotgun and the Rottweilers, okay? And the trap ready laid for his ass. All right, meaning when Esau comes down, all we got to do, okay, what is he gonna do next? Oh, see, you need a digital ID. Okay, yeah, now you need digital money. But you know what? It's so much chaos in the earth, right? That you actually need to put this under your skin. And it's gonna come to a point where he's gonna mandate it. That's what the prophecies say. And we believe that, and we're gonna stand on that. Okay, because we're not in darkness. What is it? Isaiah the 60th chapter. Let's read that and then we'll finish up. Isaiah 60. Arise, in verse 1, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, arise and shine. The light is upon us now. The light, what does the light represent? Was this knowledge, this truth. Okay, the understanding, which is ultimately Yahweh Shai. He's risen in our hearts. He's that comforter that comforted us in this time where there's going to be no comfort. Okay, the only comfort is you submitting to, which is false. It's false comfort, false miracles. The only comfort that's going to be down here is you submitting to the powers that be. And guess what? They're all these nations are in on it. They're all bought and paid for, but they're going to fight it out. Just like, you have individuals, they all rob the banks. Might be 5, 6 guys. They're boys, partners in crime. All right. And they rob a bank, and then they start fighting over the money. They start killing each other. It's the same thing. You got gangs, big gangs, they break up into smaller gangs, and then they start shooting each other. They start killing each other. They start warring after each other. So that's all that's going to happen. Alliances are made and alliances are broken. So they're all really an agenda to bring in this digital system, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to fight. Okay? The Lord is going to break it up. Okay? Satan's kingdom is being divided. So the glory is going to be seen upon us, especially during that time. Isaiah 4:1 is going to be happening. Okay, miracles. Brothers getting raised, brothers and sisters getting raised from the dead. Miraculous things that are going to be happening that are not going to be happening, okay, to the non-believers. Now you're going to have Esau with his false miracles. Oh yeah, this person, he's able to walk. He was a paraplegic, but this nigga in a transformer suit. He got to be hooked up to a transformer suit. This nigga got to have a chip in his brain, his back of his fingernail, his right butt cheek. Then he got to get into a fucking bionic suit. Somebody got to grab his ass, put him in a suit, hook him up, and then he can walk. But that's a false miracle. Okay, so you're gonna have that. Then there's also Esau was successful in putting a chip in you that can and connect to some type of eyes. Basically a false miracle. He's able to, allow you to see through his technology, through his pseudoscience. Okay, so you're gonna have that, and you got people. Wow, this technology is. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, Esau, he gonna chip your ass. And the people, they're gonna submit. Okay? Because it's written. And those that, remember it said he calls of all. And if you don't want to submit, then you're gonna be caused to be put to death. You're not gonna be able to have a profession. You're not gonna be able to travel freely. Just like in that article, you're not gonna even be able to be identified if you don't use his system. So you can't. I need your identification. How do you identify? You can't. Well, it's going to be a luxury just to travel on a plane. It's going to be a luxury to travel city to city. A man shall desire to go into a city shall not be able. So we're definitely in this time, and we're salivating, okay? Because when this comes, it's just going to prove and justify who the Most High was dealing with, okay, and who he's not dealing with. Verse 2, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. That's Esau's lies. And remember, he was given power to deceive the nations one more time. And he done that during what time? During the Renaissance. That's like the first, it was a well thought of plan, man. The Lord set Esau up. You know, it's so complex and so high level on the left-hand side that, remember, the left-hand side is all about tricks, right? That's why the scriptures say we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, 2 Corinthians 2:11, right? The only reason why we're able to understand these things, because the Most High, he's elevated our mind. He's taken us out of that gross darkness. We were once in that gross darkness, ignorant. We might have felt something, you know, off in our spirit, you know, but for the most part, you know, we weren't tapped in, okay? Until the Lord tapped us in, until the Lord, he woke us up, okay? He said, arise, come out of that dead state. And that's all prophetic, okay? Revelation, the 11th chapter. How does it go? It was 11:11. Let me get that. We'll come back. I know it said last scripture, but let me just come back. It talks about after 3 days and a half. Right, Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life, see? That's that light, which is life. This world has a different type of light. It's a black light, a wicked light. That's the light that's being shined right now by the so-called illuminated ones that kept all the knowledge to themselves. Remember, there's a term or a saying, knowledge is power. Okay, knowledge is power. And they wield that knowledge, all right, to your detriment. You're at a disadvantage, okay? You're at a disadvantage because you don't know how this money system works. If you knew how this money system works, you would try to overthrow the government, okay? And there's like a quote, I forget whether it was a president or some prominent figure, spoke about how if the people knew how this system worked, how the money system worked, the Federal Reserve, that is, there will be riots. There'll be riots. What's going on? There'll be riots popping off. Okay. Let me see again. Yeah. After 3 days and a half, the spirit of life entered into them. So we have the spirit of life now. All right. And they stood upon their feet. Right. Because what? We were in the dust, the valley of the dry bones. Okay. Which the dust, or sitting on the floor, you're in a state of confusion. Standing upon your feet, you know what's going on. Essentially, you're alive. We are now living creatures. When you see Jake in their current Gentile state of mind, that's a dead state, because does not the scriptures speak and reference the heathen nations as the dead? Okay, Isaiah 14 chapter goes into that, and also it might be in this not this chapter, but it speaks about the nations, you know, in the graves. Okay, meaning the nations are dead because they don't have life. The life is the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, and that's only been sent to really elect amongst the nation of Israel. Because all not, oh God, that's a goddamn rooster? You don't see that every day. Okay? So let me, right. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And who has that fear? Who's the fear referencing? Okay? Esau and a heathen nation, in particular the elites. Okay? Because it's not stopping. He can't stop it. He can try to infiltrate it. He can do this. He can do that. But it ain't going to stop. Okay? Because he is at his end. He's done. He's finished. And he's making his last few final, touches on this well thought out demonic plot. Yeah, we're going to do the digital. We're going to do the digital. We're going to be able to trace everybody. We're going to be able to track everybody in real time. Now they got the fucking what's it called, the 6G coming out. All right, so they'll be able to track you in real time. It's supposed to be what, so many times better than 5G, and 5G was so many times better than 4G. So they're rolling out these technologies, already working on 7G, but he's not going to get that far, right? We read the scripture where he has a bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, so this digital ID is definitely coming, and we'll see how the false prophets, how they're gonna spin it. They're gonna spin it. They're definitely gonna spin it. A lot of them are gonna ignore it. Some of them are gonna start to consider. You're gonna have a lot of what the scriptures speak about, convincing the gainsayers. You're gonna have certain about people that were gainsayers. They're gonna be converted, because you see, it's either you just have blinders on you, the Most High just completely just blinded your ass, or you don't want to see it. You have so much pride, you don't want to see it. So it's going to be one or two things, man. You're going to either get it or you're not going to get it. And that's going to pretty much, speak to if you're going to be delivered or your ass going to be destroyed, okay? I think that's pretty much it on that. The digital ID and then digital money, the digital system in general, it's all coming. And it's coming to a city near you. All right, the way you identify yourself is going to change. This is what Esau's saying. He's telling you this is what he's going to do. And none of you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American do shit about it. Well, look at the president of Mexico. It's not even a native person from that land. It's literally a small hat. Okay, I believe the president of Argentina. So they all throughout the earth, all right, taking over governments, overthrowing governments, all right, paying people off, all right, and they're moving forward with their agenda, and they're not going to be stopped until Yahweh Shai comes and destroys them, okay? All right, so I'm going to close it there. Until next time, shalom to the elect.